ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nick Eustace, and I'm one of your co-hosts for the Good Times Ahead podcast. Across from me is my main man, Tanner Thompson. We're excited to start this long journey with you guys. Bear with us. Please stay patient, have faith, and watch us grow as we continue to figure things out.
Yep. What's going on, guys? It's Tanner Thompson here. Me and Nicky are both from the city of Etobicoke, just outside Toronto there. Born and raised, we were best friends, like pretty much best friends since we were like 4 or 5 years old. Always hanging out together. Nick came to me in the pandemic and was like, honestly, like I need something to do. Like I'm pretty bored. So I was like, okay, like what are some ideas you got going on? Like let me talk through it. And he came up with this idea to start a podcast and just have people on that we think have cool stories, whatever that might be, based around maybe a little bit of mental health around there too. So then we just sort of reached out to neighborhood here, and they got us set up all these cameras, and now we're here. So
shout out Ernesto, Anthony, Dean, everyone from neighborhood for hooking it up. It would be it's a lot better than what Tanner and I were first going to do, which would have been just in his basement off of like an iPhone or something. So thank you. And just to get a little bit of the background of why I wanted to start a podcast and why I came to Tanner was I've always wanted to do this for probably like 2.5 years now, but I just honestly never really had the balls to go out and do it on my own. I was always a little hesitant and nervous because it's tough putting yourself out there and kind of you put yourself in a vulnerable spot. And I originally wanted to start a podcast about concussions because I've dealt with concussions. It's been a significant part of my life. And then I was like, concussions is such a niche topic. Let's talk about more mental health in general, because again, that's something I'm passionate about and something that has played a big part of my life in general. And even just in mental health, that's again a specific topic. And I think there's just so much more to life and more that you can talk about than just that one topic. So we're going to try and have a variety of guests throughout, talk to them, get to know their story, and hopefully you guys can learn something from it. Yeah,
for me it was when you came to me I was like a little hesitant because I was like a little scared to be on camera. Like it's a new thing for me. I've done interviews for lacrosse before, so it wasn't like crazy, but those are more, like I said, like more scripted, like you have an answer already set for you, like just don't say the wrong thing. This is like you can say whatever you want, so it's like a little different. So it's kind of cool to have that freedom. But I wanted to hop on with you because I don't know. I wanted to make sure that I was telling people how I feel, like giving people inspiration, giving people whatever they might need. I don't know if I have the answers for you, but I feel like we can just talk and like we have a good relationship, so we can kind of get that information out there, so people can kind of take what they want from it and learn from it for their own experiences. And then with our guests too, like everyone has a different story. Everyone has their own stories. Everyone has their own problems, so we can just kind of just take what you want from anything. Just read into it, watch it, listen to it, take whatever you might want to, whatever you might need from it.
I feel like you can learn something from anyone. Like I know when a big reason as to why I enjoy podcasts as well is I know during some of those tough times, like I would throw on a 2-3 hour podcast and you kind of just lose yourself in it. And like for me, listening to guys like Joey Diaz talk about his life story to cheer you up, or hearing about how someone overcame adversity, it gives you a different perspective on things. And for me, that's why I wanted to that's why the name of the podcast is Good Times Ahead, is just I enjoyed podcasts, and I know like going into it, it was like, hey, this is going to be a good time. During tough times, I'd always tell myself like, hey man, there are good times ahead. Like don't get down on yourself. This is only temporary. And just in general, I wanted to have like a positive message or a positive perspective on things.
If you had to give people one thing this podcast was going to be about, mainly, what would you say it would be?
Oh fuck, that's a tough question.
Put you on the spot, brother. Sorry.
One thing I definitely want to highlight is trying to get people to open up and share something that they're not comfortable sharing, or sharing a vulnerable time or a tough time and how they got through it. I feel like that's an important message for anyone out there.
I feel like we're both like, we're not the most outgoing guys ever, but we're both like not quiet. But I feel like you're a little more outgoing than I am, in the sense that like
you're a listener.
I'm a listener, So I grew up kind of just like a very quiet kid. I kind of came to my shell a little bit, but my whole like high school and grade school and stuff like that, I would just like watch people and just like analyze them, kind of thing. Kind of creepy, but like I would just do that. I don't know why. I'm sure people do that too. They just won't say it maybe on camera, but Yeah, like I just analyze people, kind of read them, like, and then I talk to them and see like if it matched up with what I thought originally, which was kind of weird, I guess, for a kid to do. But I just now I want to like ask them and just not be scared to like just observe. I want to actually ask them like what are your thoughts? Like what are your thoughts on this? Like how you feeling? Like instead of just trying to assume and like guess like behind the scenes kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. For you, because I know, like, I've known you since we were 5. We grew up playing hockey together, grew up playing lacrosse together, went to high school together. As you said, you weren't the most outgoing, but you're a social dude.
Yeah, I like going out.
Yeah, everyone likes going out. But for you, like, this is something that's really out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
What, like, again, why did you want to do this? Or
I don't know, I feel like as I got older, I wanted to make myself more uncomfortable. Like now I'm a guy that just can't sit still. I can't like.
Oh fuck!
I have to do something nowadays. Like my brothers will tell you, like I'm always like, want to go golfing, want to go do this, and I was like, dude, like fuck off, like stop asking me. Like I'll go with you next week. Like my dad's the same way.
The exact same way. We just like text each other and we're like, as soon as work finishes, we're like, hey, like want to go do something? Like, can't sit still, man.
So like again, making myself uncomfortable, growing as a person. I want to do something that was different, and again, out of my comfort zone. I've played lacrosse in front of 1,000 people before, but I've never talked in front of 1,000 people before. So I feel like I'm not scared to do it. It's more just, again, like in lacrosse, it's more of a scripted thing where you have to just don't say the wrong thing, whatever you say in your interviews. But here, it's like, again, you can say whatever you want. So it's kind of like a different way for me to come out of my shell and like say whatever I'm feeling. Like, and it's like when you come on the first podcast, you get nervous, but now even like 30 seconds into this one, I'm already not nervous anymore.
But it is nerve wracking. Like, you think about it and you're opening up to just the general public, and people can form their own opinion and be like, well, this guy's an idiot. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you might be right, but hey,
so are you.
At least I'm putting myself out there and doing something that I enjoy. But yeah, so for me, like what is your end goal? What do you want to get out of this podcast? I know we've talked about it in general, that this is not something we want to do for just a year or two. This is something I want to continue to do for 5, 10. I know I've seen Anthony or Ernesto. They're like, we'll podcast till we're fucking 60. Like same with me. Like I really enjoy getting to know people, getting to meet new people and just build relationships. So I wanted to know what you want to get out of this. Yeah.
So it's kind of like golf where you can do it till you're 80, right? Like it's one of those things. So
I can sit here all crippled.
We do this anyways. You might as well just film it, kind of thing. But for me, I want to get out of it is mainly that I want to make myself uncomfortable by being on this podcast, and also make everyone else realize too that you can learn and you can. I want to teach people things about people's lives. The only way I do that is to ask. So I feel like just by doing this, having people on the podcast, having some cool guests, you guys can just take what you want to learn, and then so can I. Like. Everyone has different experiences, and we're gonna have some cool people on the podcast. So like, if I can learn something from them, that's great. But I'm the main point of it is so that you guys can also learn from me and Nikki, and also the kids. So
hopefully, I mean, we're not the brightest guys in the world, but hopefully you can learn a thing or two from us.
We'll go through the guests to get some information.
Yeah, the guests will be the main point. Speaking of that, who would be like your top 3 ideal guests if you could get on anyone in the world? Who would they be and why?
Matthew McConaughey.
He's a really cool dude.
Absolute beast. Yeah, I've been getting into YouTube recently. All right. Yeah, so he's like a cool guy. I listen to some of his like Oscar speeches, stuff like that, and he always like has like a cool story. He's a very like well-spoken man, so I think that'd be a cool guy to have on. He probably has some cool stories as well. I want to have The Rock on. That'd be cool.
The Rock would be sick.
Because the guy's
just the man.
Overall like legend. Like
he's the man.
Look up the guy's Instagram. It's just like he's always on it. I don't get how that
like half the world follows him.
Like Joe Rogan talks about it, like I don't. This guy has the most energy like ever. Like I can't fathom waking up at 4. I did it for school at Marquette at school, but like every day for your whole life until midnight every night. Like that guy's just never ends. So that'd be another one. And then lastly, probably I would go the athlete route, probably, or Elon Musk.
He's an interesting dude. Can you imagine being half as smart as that guy?
It's a joke.
It's a tough question, eh?
I'd probably go like more worldwide with it. So like maybe like Messi.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Ronaldo.
Just speaking about athletics, so for you, those of you who don't know, which is basically everyone, our boy here played his first professional lacrosse game last weekend, and I just want you to go more into detail about your lacrosse career and you growing up. I mean, this guy's a Mimico legend, the Thompson family. You go to Mimico and you just be like, hey, I know Tanner. Anyone there will treat you well. So I want you to dive deeper into that and just your experience with lacrosse and Marquette. And those kinds of things.
We're both sports guys, so we talk about sports a lot. It's a big part of our lives. Especially for me, I would say like I've always kind of revolved around sports in a way. I learned everything I know from sports pretty much. Or not everything, but a lot of life lessons that I've learned come through sports.
It's crazy the life lessons you can take out of sports.
It's absolutely crazy, bro. So I grew up in Etobicoke playing for Mimico, which is the local sort of lacrosse team around here. You play against all the different teams like Whitby, Orangeville, all those kind of things, Brampton, that kind of stuff. So my whole life I would go into those cities playing against those teams, kind of like hockey, like you grew up playing against whatever teams you play against. And then from there, you kind of like go either go the college route, kind of like hockey again or any sports. You go the college route or you go to Canadian universities, whatever you want to do. I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to Marquette University, which is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Shout out Milwaukee.
Shout out Milwaukee.
Low-key cool town. So I went there.
Fun time.
Fun time, yeah. So I went straight out of high school there. I committed in grade 9, actually, which was cool.
Because you committed early.
Yeah, I had to, like, maintain, like, a whatever average throughout high school. So it's kind of like, all right. Like,
not the highest average.
And then I get that, they changed it because I was like, dude, like, I committed in grade 9, and, like, I didn't have to get, like, the 85s like everyone else did. I was just, like, I had to get my score.
Yeah.
I think that they changed that now where it's, like, you can't even talk to schools until you're grade 11 here, right?
No, I know with hockey, like for me, we weren't allowed to get they weren't allowed to get in contact with us until a certain age.
Yeah.
So for me, like I grew up playing hockey. I played AAA my entire life. I ended up playing for the Mississauga Rebels, which is where things kind of kicked off. We were probably one of the top 2 teams in North America for, I want to say, 4 years? Yeah. Ended up beating our rivals, the Toronto Marlies, in the OHL Cup, which was, again, still puts a smile on my face. They had guys like Sam Bennett, Connor McDavid, Josh Hosang, just such a skilled team. I mean, we were pretty good too. One of my teammates, Robbie Fabry, went on to win the Stanley Cup, so I was good. And then our buddy Jake is playing for the Montreal Canadiens.
Stanley Cup run last year.
Yeah, Stanley Cup run last year.
Shout out Jacob.
Shout out Jake. Shout out Montreal. Those were fun times, but for me, unfortunately, my career was cut short due to concussions. At that point, my biggest goal was trying to get a scholarship to the States. I was in contact with a few schools like Providence, Penn State, Canisius, just to name a few. And then ultimately, I wanted to play some sort of professional hockey, but it is what it is. Injuries are part of the game, and now I'm playing in the beer leagues every Tuesday, so I'm just thankful to be able to continue to play and be a part of a team, which is my favorite part growing up. Was there's not much to compare of like the camaraderie of being on a team. I'm still playing lacrosse. I still have that opportunity to play on a team, and you're right, like it goes a long way to just have those guys. Like it's like a family.
It's like a family away from your family. Exactly. Like you don't know them that well, but then all of a sudden when you're put on the same team, you kind of like have to go through, people say battle, but like
it's a battle.
It's a battle. All right,
a playoff run is a grind.
It's a grind. Yeah. Like in lacrosse, you play 7 games, like 8 days, in lacrosse sometimes. So it's kind of that's like a really big grind. It's kind of like football. Like imagine they played like, it's not as physical as football, but like imagine if like NHL players even played 7 days in a row, like they pretty much die. Like, yeah, it's a grind. So I'm playing for the Albany Firewolves right now in the NLL. I just had my first professional game against the Toronto Rock in Hamilton.
How was that?
It was cool.
How did you feel?
So I've played in front of people before. Never that many people though. So it was like 7,000 or 8,000 people, which was kind of cool. It was the first shift was crazy. Like the national anthem, you're on the line, and you're staring at everybody like holy shit, like what's going on? So I'll say it's hard to focus.
The crowd was rowdy. Like
lacrosse is a different crowd.
Lacrosse is a different crowd.
Yeah, it's cheaper seats and a little more blue collar.
They had $5 beers there, and they went quickly.
Yeah, if that was a Leafs game, beers would be on the ice. But yeah, it was very surreal. Like your first shift, you're like holy shit, like I don't know if I could even like play lacrosse right now. It's too much. So you kind of got to like snap out of it and like just snap into the game and focus. So it took me like a couple shifts to get going and like realize that I'm actually playing a game right now. Yeah. And then you kind of figure it out from there. But it's kind of like this, like your first 10 minutes are a little awkward, and then all of a sudden you can snap into it and you're good.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. What would you say is the biggest difference between the Division I style of play or just the Division I level of play and professional?
So at school I played field lacrosse, which is like the outdoor version, 9-on-9, and I'd say the Americans are a lot more athletic and like they start working out when they're way younger than Canadians do, and they're just a bunch of freaks. in terms of like their athletic abilities.
I want to touch on that. For hockey,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they feed Americans, but those kids were fucking huge.
They're crazy.
You're like a 16-year-old. He's like 6'4", 210 pounds. And
I'm like 140. Like,
sorry
guys,
it's not fair. You just line up and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, so it kind of helped out for me though, because I was in college going against these huge ass American dudes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the biggest difference between high school and college box lacrosse compared to pro box lacrosse is also the size.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, again, 6'2", 6'3",
There's some big boys.
15. So it's kind of like I was already playing against those kind of guys because I was in America. So it kind of helped me out a little bit in terms of like the mental side of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still a grind, like battling against those guys, man. Like especially as a smaller guy, like it's a lot of fun because you got kind of like it's like a puzzle piece. You got to find out how to beat them in a way. It's like whatever it's like kind of like UFC when they're coming at you, kind of use their momentum against them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like ins and outs of the game like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. It's like it's overall it's fun to do. Like it keeps you going. You have a team behind you. You have a bunch of boys there. Like you're battling together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to touch more upon Marquette and the Thompson just tradition of Marquette. So Tanner has 3 brothers, so 4 boys. All 4 of them are just super athletic, degenerates. God bless your mom growing up.
Yeah.
But there's 3 of them that have been or are playing at Marquette. So I feel like there's just like, I don't want to say, I don't know how to put it. What's the word?
Camaraderie or
No, a tradition of just the Thompsons being at Marquette, and then
like
Finner had to, pipeline, and Finner had to go and fuck it up.
Yeah.
The youngest brother committed to Michigan and now decommitted and recommitted to Syracuse. But
yeah, so we all grew up like obviously battling in the backyard, like full on, not fighting, but like full on hitting in the backyard.
What the fuck was that like growing up with 4 meathead brothers?
So me and the youngest brother have a bit of a gap. We have 8 years, so that's like the biggest gap obviously between all the brothers. So that we never really had too many battles with him because I was just older and I was just like not much you could do at that point. But now he can beat me up, but
he's a big boy now.
He's a big boy now. But yeah, back then it was more just like
still
me and the younger two below me that were just battling all the time. Not like fighting, but we fight sometimes. But like just like your mini stick battles in the basement. And when we got older, we moved to like the backyard, got some lacrosse nets going back there, did some like a lot of shooting together. So we kind of like learned together in a way, and we talked through it and stuff like that. So it kind of helps. And then my youngest brother watched me play. The third one watched the second one and me play. The fourth one got to watch all 3 of us play. So I think that's why he's probably like the highest IQ behind it, because he's just seen the most, I would say.
Yeah, finished.
He's really good. So then I committed to Marquette in grade 9, and then the second brother followed me there a couple years later. I played with him for 2 years there. Third brother came. I never played with him, so I was gone. I graduated before he got there, but then one of them's there now. He played with my other brother for 2 years as well.
And then Finner goes to Syracuse next year, right?
Yeah, so the third one's at Marquette right now, still going. Yeah. And then the third one just decommitted from Michigan, and now he's going to Syracuse because it's like their coach is like the OG, like Wayne Gretzky kind of guy of lacrosse. So he was like, Finner, come on over. Like, sure. And
that's
Finner was like, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Did you have any advice for your brothers going into Marquette? And do you have any advice for Finner going into just his first year of D1 next year?
Good question.
Or just any kid in general. Like, I feel like, as I said, you're a pretty big, I wouldn't say big, but like in the Mimico area, you're a big deal for lacrosse. So if there's any advice you can give to some of those kids, what would you say?
I would say, like, you got to learn your own way. Everyone has their own path kind of thing. But for me, like, you just got to get a chance. Like, you just keep working hard until someone gives you a chance. Yeah. And when that chance happens, you just got to take it. Like, my freshman year, I didn't play. Like, I didn't get a sniff of the field, and then someone got hurt. Shout out Kyle Whitlow. Sorry about the injuries, but then when that got hurt, I wish he could have played, obviously, over me. But
that's
when
what
he got hurt, I
happens
got my
in
chance,
sports,
and I scored some goals, and that's just how it works, right? Like, so I would say, like, if you're a young guy, don't know what you're going to do yet, just keep trying. Like, eventually something's going to happen, and when that opportunity comes, just take it. Like, you got to battle. Everyone, even in the real world, like with jobs, it takes 2 years to build a client list, and then it takes another year to make money.
More than that.
Like, exactly. Everything takes
for
time.
A job,
you just gotta unless you're like McDavid, unless you're like someone just insanely gross, which if you are, good for you. Have fun. But if you're not,
it must be nice.
It must be nice. If you're not, just grind through it.
Yeah.
Be a gritty guy. Grind through it.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
That's good advice, man. But yeah, is there anything else you want to touch upon for lacrosse, or
I think I'm good. Just watch NLL on TSN and ESPN. Shout out NLL.
That's the one thing I'll say is lacrosse does not get enough credit for how exciting of a sport it is. Like going to the game, I was honestly surprised. The skill level is insane. It's physical. It's a violent game. As I said, the atmosphere of the crowd is way better than a Leafs game.
Yeah, I think
it's
it's just
more fun. It's not as popular.
Yeah, I think it's a lot newer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like these things take time. Like I'm sure the first 5 years of the NHL when I was on TV, it wasn't like the craziest thing ever. You know, maybe NHL's a little different because we're in Canada.
Yeah,
but
hockey.
Like the NBA in Canada was probably not. Actually, I know it wasn't that big for a little while at the beginning. But like it's
fun
like
fact: basketball was created by a Canadian,
James Naismith.
Yeah,
I think 1892, 1896.
Look at this guy, eh?
I don't know why the fuck I know that. But yeah, no, not about lacrosse really. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
How about you? What's like your what are your goals with sports the rest of your life? Like, do you want to coach ever? Would you ever want to coach a sport? Like some AAA kids or whatever? But
I don't know. That's a good question. I definitely want to continue to be involved with hockey, whether it's just like for me, one of my dream jobs was to become a hockey agent. Once I retired and I kind of separated myself from hockey for a few years there, which was stupid. Yeah. But once I got back into it and got back involved with my teammates and just the sport in general, it made me realize how much I missed it and how much it's a part of my life. But I think it would have been pretty cool to be an NHL agent. I always loved shows like Entourage, Ari Gold. Shout out Ari Gold. He was someone that I loved, and then Ballers as well, both based around just like agents. So that lifestyle, I mean, it's based off of a TV show, so it's a bunch of bullshit. But when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, that looks so much fun. This would be so much fun. Mm-hmm. And then as I started to talk to people who are involved with, who are hockey agents and involved with that, you realize it's a lot tougher than what it is. And you're away from your family a lot. You're on the road a lot, scouting individuals, and as you said, building up like a list to actually become an NHL agent or to have a client is tough.
Starts with one, right? You're getting like, is it like 2% or 6%?
4%. But a lot of, for me, it would like, again, I would have looked at it as a way of, I would love to start with like a kid, and then you can kind of teach them the ways and like show them what not to do, what to do, build a good relationship. Like you see some guys, a kid will get injured. I've seen it with some of my old teammates. They'll get injured and then there'll be no value to the agent or agency, and they'll just, I mean, I know it's a business, but you get treated like a piece of meat.
What do you think about like high school kids now getting like recruited to join teams like let's say neighborhood wanted to have a kid, like an athlete, like
neighborhood sponsor.
Yeah, like people are doing that now. Like
I know, I see
soaking up all the kids. Like Barstool's doing it.
Barstool's a beast.
It's kind of like what you said for like agents. They like go with the young, like not go after, but like go to the young kids, and then.
Well, that's what it is. You're scouting kids at 16. You're trying to find the next Connor McDavid.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that? You think it's like too young? Like,
I mean, I think it's just a part of the business. If you don't do it, your competitor will. True. And the thing with agents and agencies, there's like two agencies in particular within Canada that their client list is just, you look at it and they have like half the NHL.
It's monopolized already?
Yeah, like Newport Sports, Wasserman, and then an agent in general. He's from CAA. Pat Brisson, he has like $1 billion worth of contracts under his name alone
to be an agent.
Pardon?
Do you need a law degree to be an agent?
A lot of them do have law degrees. That's why I was kind of deterred by it. I was like, I don't know.
A lot of school.
Yeah, it's a lot of school.
A lot of money.
Yeah, but again, I feel like it would be a fun job and a fulfilling job, but also a tough job. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Again,
I can see you being a good coach.
Yeah, I think coaching would be fun, but I don't want to be involved with politics.
Yeah,
I'd coach like A or AA.
It's only getting worse too. Now it costs like fucking $25,000 to play.
Yeah, hockey's crazy there, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see what happens. What about you? I know you were involved with coaching lacrosse this year.
Yeah, I've been coaching for a while now. I've always liked coaching. I was coaching kids for a while, which was awesome. Like, kids are the best, kind of. Like, it's just so much fun, like watching them run around like they're little waddles. Mm-hmm. But I have like a weird mind. Like I can see the X's and O's pretty well. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to like coach kids that were a little older and like could actually understand like
the fundamentals,
more in-depth stuff. Yeah, like I didn't have to go to the fundamentals. I can just skip to the actual plays and stuff like that. And then when I got to the adults, it was definitely better. They could do what I was doing. But they would kind of like overanalyze it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would focus on where they need to be on the field or the floor or the ice instead of just playing the game. You know what I mean? Like they were worried about where to be, like what to do instead of just like naturally playing.
Yeah.
So for kids, they just play no matter what you say.
Yeah.
So they're going to be naturally good. If you're good, you're good. You're just naturally better than everybody else. But when you get older, like you can kind of mess yourself up a little bit by thinking too much and like thinking about where you need to be rather than actually just playing lacrosse. It's interesting. Coaching is very like psychological. I think it's definitely cool. And as people watch it, like I like it. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't address the mental side of sports in general as much. As a younger athlete, I know for me, a lot of what I struggled with when I was younger was confidence. Mm-hmm. I had the skill and I had the ability. I just wasn't confident in myself. And as you get older, and that's something that I've realized now, is confidence is a skill you need to work on, and you need to actually be conscious or put effort into being confident. I mean, there are some people who are just naturally confident individuals, which fuck you. God bless. Good for you. Yeah. But I know for me, like I have to make sure I'm doing certain things to keep my swagger, to keep my confidence, and just in life in general. I notice if I get off my grind or I get off certain things that keep me sharp, that my confidence takes a hit, and that affects every aspect of my life, whether it's like relationships, interacting with people, my work, just everything. If I don't feel confident and I start feeling insecure, it's a slippery slope. What's
your favorite way to make yourself like just feel a little better?
For me, what I've really been working on in the last few months is, one right off the bat is the gym. I feel like the gym keeps me constant. As The Rock, shout out The Rock again. Yeah. He referred to it as iron therapy. And that's something that just, I know if I work out, it kind of sets my foundation. And then something that I've been really addressing recently in the last, I want to say 2-3 months, is just gratitude. And it sounds fucking cheesy, but just like self-talk or self-love or whatever you want to call it. But just like, being like, oh fuck, like I'm the man, I can do this. I'm not gonna get in my own head. I'm not gonna feel insecure. Like for this podcast, like coming into it, like if you're insecure, you don't feel confident doing it, it's gonna show. Yeah. And that's again like putting myself in uncomfortable situations, doing something like this. I did a video on my experience with concussions and mental health, and just putting myself out there. And I feel like doing that, I've grown so much in the last 3 to 4 months alone.
Is there anything that you want to do that you know would help you, that it's just like hard to do?
That's a good question. I think for me, public speaking. Mm-hmm. I think just getting better at public speaking in general is something that I want to do. And
this is probably going to help.
This is definitely going to help. But this is different. It's just you and I having a conversation. Obviously, Dean's here, but
skip some steps.
But like, I think speaking in front of a crowd, I would shit myself. Yeah. Like, I would have to look in the mirror for like 10 minutes, be like, you're the fucking man. You're the man. Like, you can do this.
Yeah, that's good. The people do that all the time, bro.
Yeah, but
I feel like even athletes do that.
It works. It's like the mindset. You're like, okay, I can come in and do this. Like, just having that little self-doubt, it starts to crumble, and it's just all downhill from there.
It'd be cool to be a fly on the wall, like if you could see everybody before they do something in front of people. Like, I want to see what everyone does. Yeah. Like some 5 minutes before, like in lacrosse, some people like go to the bathroom and puke.
People fucking like hit themselves. Like
people like smack themselves in the face. Yeah. Like, it's fucking weird.
I mean, I'm not gonna do that, but
in lacrosse, people like go to the bathroom and puke, like, or they like go in the mirror and scream, like shit like that. Like, I'm like, holy fuck. Like,
I used to be a puker with hockey. Yeah. I puked a ton with hockey. Yeah. Like,
so you're taking a piss before the game and just hear like, it's like, what the hell?
My nerves would get to me. I remember there was one shift. This wasn't nerves. This was just, I had one shift where I just like worked my bag off, and I came back to the bench, threw up right as soon as I got off the ice. Just went over the side, threw up. I did that numerous times. It got to the point where like one of my coaches joked that they need like a puke bucket on the side.
Yeah, but best part is if they're like, Nikki, let's go, you're up next, you'd be like, all right, coming.
I scored after. Yeah. I remember it. I was like, fuck yeah, I felt
That's
so
when you
good.
know you're a tough dude, man.
I don't know
People
about
are puking
that.
when you get hurt. Come back strong.
I don't know about that, but
yeah.
What about for you? Do you have any superstitions just going into whether it's sports or big? Like for me, I had an interview this morning and I was nervous and I just sat there and I was like, okay, like just nothing. It wasn't meditating, but you're just kind of getting in the zone, just kind of relaxing, trying to calm those nerves. Do you do anything like that?
I'm kind of the opposite. Like I don't like hype myself up because then I get too jittery and stuff like that. And I don't like having like coffees or 5-hour energies because I gotta get to it and get too jittery again. Like I kind of gotta just like sit there and like just like relax. I gotta just zone in and just calm down. Like if I start to freak out, then it's just a slippery slope to the first shift being the worst shift ever. So I kind of just gotta like just chill. And like you said, like just before you even get there, you gotta know that you can do it because you're there. Yeah. Kind of thing. Like for me, that stuff's done before. Like even like this, like I knew I was gonna be okay. You just gotta get past the first 5 minutes. Like it's kind of like that. You know it's gonna be okay, so then it's gonna be okay.
Were you visualizing this at all coming into it? Like, do you do any sort of that visualization coming in? Or just preparing yourself mentally, being like, okay, I know I'm gonna have to come in here and talk for an hour. Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like if you're ready for it in your mind, and you just gotta do it. I don't know. I'm kind of a weird guy like that. Like I don't know. You're a fucking weird guy. Yeah. No, I'm joking. I feel like if I do think about it a lot, then I will weird. Stress out. Like I will freak out. I will have anxiety attacks. I literally don't think about it. It's just like easier for me. Yeah. See, I can't. I overthink things. Yeah, that's my biggest thing. At night is when I can't sleep sometimes. Yeah. Kind of like you, right? Like I overthink everything, and that's something that I've been working on. Is I heard a quote where it was like, you suffer more in imagination than in reality, and that just fucking hit me head on. I was like, oh my god, all these problems I think I have, I don't. It's just I get it in my head where I start overthinking it. I get anxious. You create fake scenarios where it's just it's not even worth it. There's no point. It's a big ex-girlfriend topic right there. We're not getting into that though. no, fuck. Yeah. But yeah. Speaking of which, for you, maybe you know what? We'll dive deep into this. What you got? So I know you went through a breakup as well recently. Yeah. And we were talking about this. And would you say it was a good thing for you? I think you can take good things from it. Yeah. I think. Yeah, like I love the girl. Like it would have gone. I think in my opinion, it would have gone pretty far. But like, we're diving deep into this now. Eh? Fuck. Yeah, it's all good, man. Nothing else to do. Yeah, seriously. Like it was all good. Like I love the girl, whatever. But just like stuff happens in your life, and you kind of realize that like 4 months after we broke up, it was kind of like, okay, like I'm good. Like, well, so if it happens again to me next time, let's say my next girlfriend, we do break up, I'll be able to like understand that I'm gonna be okay. Like it's fine. Like the world's gonna go on. Tomorrow's gonna happen. The sun's gonna rise. Like having that mental ability to snap out of it, kind of thing. You can still care. You can still feel whatever you want to feel. But I'm not gonna like. So I had a girlfriend before that too, so it kind of helped me. Like again, I was already learning before that. It's So you kind of just like again, you take what you get from your experiences and you go from there. So now my next girlfriend, whenever that happens, I can not for a while. I'll be able to like learn from my experiences and know that I'm gonna be okay. Like I'm not gonna dwell on it. Like it's tough for a while, then you get over it. Like it's just one of those things. Like I feel like that's also a weird mindset. Like I don't know if everyone's said that on camera before, really, but no, this is not something I expected talking about coming into this. But I think it is a huge learning experience and a huge learning lesson. Our relationships, whether it's romantic or friendship. Like for me, I looked back, I reflected a lot, and I was like, what the fuck? Like I was immature. I had a weird, like a different perspective on things. And for me, as like it kickstarted like a whole new, like it kind of lit a fire under my ass where it was like, I'm fucking around in my job. I'm fucking around in my career. I'm fucking around with what I want to do here. I'm just putting everything off. And then once I thought about it, I was like, okay, like let's start doing this. Like with the podcast, it just lit a fire under you. You need that trigger thing, right? Yeah. And for us, this was a trigger thing. Like, well, you see a lot of guys, they just all of a sudden get jacked as shit after getting broken up. And it's like, we're into that too. I was like, I wonder why. Like, but it definitely is a learning experience, and it's something that you can grow from, which is, I'm super thankful that I've had that opportunity to grow from it. Yeah. But
What's your stance on like when you're older? Like, do you want to like have kids? Do you want to like do all that sort of thing? Or
Oh,
are you like,
fuck. I don't even want to think about that, man.
tough question.
25 here. I just want to think about enjoying myself for the next. Like, I feel like I lost 2 years due to COVID. I don't know about you, but I look at some people. I'm like, dude, you're 25 going on 45. Like,
so you don't think about that kind of stuff really? You're kind of just like in the moment.
I mean, yeah, like obviously I do, but
You
not
don't know.
anytime soon. Like,
Yeah, I'm kind of the same.
yeah, I want to enjoy myself. Like, after this, I want to go. Not right after this, but like tonight, I'm focused on like hopefully getting that job, and then going and celebrating with a few beers. But
Yeah, sounds like a plan to me.
yeah, other than that, I don't know, man. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
But that's something I feel like I also needed to work on, was just like not getting ahead of myself and enjoying the present moment. I mean, during the pandemic, you just have so much alone time. You start like thinking about your future and thinking about things, and again, stressing over just stupid shit. Like,
were you able to like help your family and friends out during COVID, stuff like that? If they had like issues, like would they come to like, was it like a family thing, or like, so you're trapped in your own house, right? You can't go anywhere. Like, would they come to you, or did you go to them, or would it be like I kind of gotta like text my friends kind of thing, or my girlfriend?
Definitely my friends, girlfriend and friends. I'd say like got closer with. Family, I got closer with, but when you're living with someone, and spending that much time with someone, you're bound to butt heads. Yeah. Especially like
trapped in the same house, like
like I can imagine you and 4 of your brothers, like same thing. Obviously, you
fight less over like the clothes that we share, but then you fight more over just like space and like
well, it's the little things after a year of just being stuck in your same household. Like little things get on your nerves,
like the lack of privacy.
That's one of the things for me is like, you can be best friends with someone, but living with them is a whole different animal. Yeah. Like, I know certain guys, they're best friends, and then they live with each other and they fucking hate each other like 6 months in. Or like with a relationship, like I feel like that's a big test, is like living with each other. You could be all lovey-dovey for like 3 years. Yeah. Then you move in and you can't have like Sundays to watch football, and next thing you know, you're like, fuck. Yeah. Like, why did I do this?
One thing I want to ask, are you like paying attention to like your boy's mental health? Like, were you asked, like, you ever text them and be like, hey, like, I haven't texted you in like 2 weeks or a month, or
for sure,
or like 6 months for some people, like your friends, kind of like close-ish friends. Would you be like, yo, like, how are you doing? Like, how's your mental health? I asked a friend like how their mental health was, and they were like
dumbfounded.
No one's ever asked me that before. Yeah. They didn't know what to say. So they're like, okay, I'm good. Like, how are you? And then we talked about it, but I was like, really? Like, I've never really. Well, no one's really asked me either, except for like you. Like,
yeah, you and I talked a lot about that kind of stuff throughout the pandemic, which was nice. Like, and then for me, like, I just find I know certain guys who are going through shit, and I can kind of empathize and put myself in their shoes, because I know I've gone through similar things where it's like, I know if I was in that position, or if I was in that mental state, that kind of stuff would just go a long way. Like a simple how are you doing, or you want to go for a walk, or you want to hit the gym, or something like that can make a world of difference. And so I made sure to always check up on people, whether it was like a couple weeks past or something like that. I'd always send a text and be like, hey, how are you doing, man? Or how are things going?
Would you say you got better at that through COVID, or do you think you were always good at that?
I'd say that's something I always emphasized, was just checking in on my buddies and like making sure guys were good. It's something I can improve on, obviously.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't know. I feel like,
why do you think it's such a social norm that no one asks that question?
I don't think it's people don't ask it. I think people don't want to respond truthfully.
Like they're uncomfortable answering, or they're uncomfortable asking?
Yeah, well, it's an uncomfortable topic to be like, oh, like, how are you doing? And you answer like, oh, I'm fucking depressed. Like,
yeah, true.
No one really is ready for that conversation just out of the blue. Like, I feel like it's something you have to prepare yourself, again, mentally, to like go into a conversation knowing you're gonna reveal your deepest secrets.
Do you ever think it's a bad thing to ask like at a time?
Definitely time and place. Like if I'm out at a bar and we're enjoying ourselves and someone's like, hey man, like how's your mental health? I'll be like, I appreciate you asking, but like,
let me drink my beer in peace, brother.
it depends how drunk you are too, though.
Yeah.
Like, obviously everyone's had those like heart to hearts where you just black out.
4 a.m.
Next thing you know, there's like tears, and you're like, I love you, bro.
You're eating pizza. You're eating ranch with your fingers.
Yeah. But I definitely think it's a topic that people should be more comfortable with. And that just comes down to, again, like being secure with yourself and being okay. Like for me, I know that concussion video I was touched upon, like I came out and I was just like, yeah, man, like I was fucking depressed throughout that time. Like I was using like drugs and alcohol to kind of deal with these issues, and it just dug a deeper hole. Mm-hmm. And up until that point, I wasn't mature enough or comfortable enough to openly talk about those issues. But I feel like that's something that is important, and now I've got to that point where I'm like, yeah, like this is a part of who I am. This is my story. Like
no one's gonna judge me.
No, fuck. Like
thing.
It is what it is. It makes me me. And if a kid can learn from that, or I can help a kid from that, or
the fact that you got to this point where now you can talk about it, kind of thing, is just inspiration for kids, or not kids, but like anybody to be like, yo, okay, I can talk about it too. Like,
it's just for me. Like I've always been someone who's been transparent, and like either you're gonna like me or you're not. And at the end of the day, like I don't really obviously I'd rather you like me, but if you don't, then fuck it. Like not everyone's gonna like you. Mm-hmm. So I'd rather be honest, keep it real, which is, I find a lot of people don't keep it real nowadays, especially with social media and all that bullshit. Yeah. But just
the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I that's one of the things I respect out of people, is keeping it real and just keeping it honest.
What's like the main way you can tell, like right away?
I don't know.
Not right away, but like
not right away, but I can. I don't know
like
about
overall
you.
like vibe. Like I can kind of pick up on like vibes. Like this person's giving off like a, not to be like too hippie or whatever, but like if they're coming in like all hipster. Hot, yeah, like all hot and like way too aggressive, I can tell that they're like.
You can tell they're trying to overcompensate.
Yeah, or they're nervous or something. Like they're trying to overcompensate for something.
Which
and
makes
if they do it for like months at a time, then it's like, okay, that's who they actually are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm guilty of that when you're younger too. Like, well, you see, like we all know a guy who like
comes in hot,
and you're just like, dude, that's not true. Like, oh, I banged like 3 girls last week, and you're like, no, you didn't, man. Like,
yeah, I had 37 beers. Like,
okay, 37 beers in a week. Like,
yeah.
You just know they're just overcompensating for insecurities, which, whatever. Like, we're at the age now where it's like, okay, I don't give a fuck. Like, you be you. Mm-hmm. I'm honestly, like, I love listening to those guys now, because it's more entertaining than anything. Yeah. You're like, what's going to come out of their mouth next? Like, just absurd shit. But what about you? Because I know you said this is something that's new to you, is just being vulnerable and talking about mental health and your deepest, I don't want to say deepest, but your deepest thoughts. So yeah, like how have you found you've grown in that way? Like what can you improve on?
I'm always like a people pleaser. Yeah, like,
me too.
I hate when people like don't like me. I don't know why. I just care a lot about it. I don't like just not knowing. You know what I mean? Like when someone like,
the fear of the unknown is a scary
crazy
thing.
I can't fail. I need to know everything.
It's a scary fucking thing.
Yeah. So I feel like I needed to know for so long, and it causes so much anxiety and stress. Like the fact that you just have to know, and I ask questions to get to the answers, and I would like find like little ways to get the answers. Like it's kind of like use an angle. Like it's kind of fucked. But like that's how much I cared about like getting the answer out of somebody, or like not a person, but like
that's human nature though. Like you want to know what people think about you.
Yeah, but after like you said, like after a certain amount of time, it's like, why do I care so much? Like, who the hell cares? Like, this is just driving me insane. So now, I feel like I've gotten better at like, not people pleasing in the sense of like, I want to make sure that they like me. I'll be natural, be who I am. Yeah. But if they don't like me, or they're going to talk back behind my back, I'll just be like, sure, go ahead and do it. Do you? I do not care. Like, I care more now about how I feel and less about how people feel, which sounds bad, but when you spend most of your life like people pleasing and like making sure everyone thinks that you like them, make sure you do the extra stuff to make them like you, then it's like you kind of flip a switch. For now, it's like you kind of find a balance between being
what makes you happy
and what makes everybody else happy. Yeah, you kind of got to take care of yourself now. Like I've
started
to realize that.
You fully do, and that's something that I've realized recently. Is like, honest to God, like you have to. If you don't
take care of yourself, no one will.
It sounds so fucking cheesy again, but like you gotta love yourself, or like if you don't love yourself, no one else will. Yeah. And it's true. Like you gotta do what makes you happy. But And I know you're the yes man of the century.
Yeah.
That's
I just like making people happy. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll come.
You'll ask Tanner, you'll be like, yo, you want to do this? And you'll be like, yes. And then you'll ask someone, be like, oh, Tanner said he's coming here. And you'll ask someone else, and Tanner said yes to this.
And then I'll go to one, I'll leave halfway early, and go to the next one.
plans in one day. But
yeah,
that's something you learn from.
I'm working on that too. I'm working on not just saying yes all the time.
I say yes a lot too, though, so fuck it.
I don't have like a calendar now, but like now I'm like, okay, like I think before I act now. Yeah. I would say definitely a lot more than when I was in high school and college. Yeah. I would just be like, yep, sure. And then I'd leave one place halfway early to go to the next place. And like, he's like, what the fuck? It's like,
this guy just has like 30-minute intervals going from like one party to the next.
Yeah. Bad habit, but we're working on it. As long as we're working on it and we're heading in the right direction, then I'm happy. I'm proud of myself. So
that's another thing is what's something that you really want to work on in regards to this podcast?
In regards to this podcast?
Yeah.
I want to get better at asking questions like on the fly.
Thinking on the spot?
Yeah, exactly. Like when not awkward silences, but when we can tell it's coming into place, I want to be able to just be like, cool question. Not just a question that like whatever anybody can ask, like an actual cool question. That's like, okay, like that's a cool question. Like the fact that you can either think you wrote it down, but you didn't actually write it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like witty shit.
For me, I want to be able to talk to anyone. Like any walk of life. I feel like I'm pretty.
You probably do that now.
I'm pretty good at that now, but I just want to be comfortable where you can throw me into any situation, whether it's a guy who's just come out of prison or a CEO of like a billion-dollar company, and just be able to talk to them for an hour, and then after that hour, be like, hey, anytime you want to grab beers, let's grab beers. Do
you think you could do like, you know, the show Impractical Jokers?
That's tough though. That's a whole different.
Like going up to anybody, like I could ask you to go ask this guy. Like,
have you ever seen that show? Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that kind of stuff. That'd be too awkward. But is that what you're talking about though? Just being able to do anything, like just not caring what they say, or
being able to have a conversation,
actual conversations. Yeah.
That kind of stuff is hard. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but Impractical Jokers I don't know how to describe it. It's like a hidden camera show where they have tasks to do, or
just ridiculous tasks,
ridiculous stuff where like their friend will be in their ear and they'll be like, okay, you have to say what I say or you lose this challenge, and it's just absurd shit.
But they don't care what everybody thinks.
No, they don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah, they'll do it.
That's amazing though. Those are 4 best friends who grew up together who now have a show, and I think they get paid like an absurd amount, like $500,000 per episode now, and it's just like, hey, that's literally just like 4.
They had an idea, they went for it, and it worked.
Overgrown children who are just enjoying their life.
Yeah, just happy dudes.
Yeah, if I can make a living out of podcasting, then
be cool.
Yeah, that'd be my ideal job, is just having conversations, and
because you're not staring at a computer screen all day, you're just talking to people. No. Like it's just like an overall happy life. Like it's just
and then from there being able to branch out. I feel like we've talked about this, just like the amount of ideas we've had for different content or different opportunities for content from creating a brand off this is incredible. And I mean, we were talking about it, and just the good times ahead brand in general is we want it to almost be kind of a lifestyle brand at the end of the day, and just promoting a positive, happy, outgoing, being yourself vibe.
You can control 2 things, your effort and your positivity.
Yeah, easier said
than done, but you can control them.
No, but I think that would be cool, is at the end of the day having like an actual brand, not just the podcast, but being able to branch out into other things and other opportunities, and just having fun with it.
See where the path goes.
Yeah, exactly. And just seeing where it takes us, seeing what happens, and ultimately, I mean, my biggest thing out of this is just being able to have fun. Yeah.
Well, I like chatting with you, so that's good.
Yeah.
We'll chat forever, man.
Yeah. I mean, we could keep going on forever, but I think we'll probably cut it here. And again, just remember, there's always good times ahead, and we'll see you for the next episode.
We'll see you guys.